Well, hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot, the most innovative, creative tarot slash metaphysical reading on the internet. And the reason is very simple. I want you to manifest in a positive way. You already manifest, believe it or not. You already manifest, but in a negative way. Our ability to manifest is God given. And I don't know, I don't remember, I'm a long way from being my baby years, but at some point, 3, 4, maybe 5, child has to become aware of its circumstances and within that context, its needs or desires. And so the idea of manifesting, even as a youngster, 3, 4, 5, like I said, somewhere in there, they do it. And it's something that we do for our entire life. In fact, it's kind of interesting. They've done several studies over the past 30 years, and they found out that 5-year-olds are magnificently creative. 99% really high. So, over the course of the last 30 years, they followed these 5-year-olds till they graduated from college. You know what happens when they graduate from college? Instead of 99% being creative, 1%. Which explains a lot. You get these PhDs, MDs, MAs, MSs, whatever the hell, and they're stupid. Oh, they can spit the information out. Oh yeah, but think for themselves. Well, the tests show not so much. Real life shows not so much. So the idea is to get you to develop your ability to create pictures inside of your own imagination, not from a desktop, a laptop, a smartphone, or so-called artificial intelligence. You live your life. You participate. You stay connected. And from that experience, now you begin to draw in pictures, images. Think of it as a kind of a movie script in your head. Now you take that energy, project it outward into the world, not the other way the other way around, the world projecting it into you. That does not work. In fact, we're beginning to find very clearly with all of the technical stuff around us and the ability for machines to somewhat quote unquote think, we are thinking less, we're less creative. We're losing points on IQ testing. They say over the past 5 years, dropped 6 to 9 points. That's a hell of a lot when you start considering IQ. Well, why is it? Very simply. I think it's in large part, though not entirely, the fact that we're addicted to our technology and we're lazy. And so if I can get the computer to do it, why do I have to think about it? Well, you have to think about it because that's your muscle. Okay, that's your mental muscle. You got to do it. So the idea here is to pump up that muscle. The tarot reading, be very clear, be very clean, simple, clear, direct. I want you to be able to feel it, taste it, touch it, see it in your imagination. I don't do the fantasies, the unicorns, the rainbows, any of that woo-woo stuff. It's matrix time. Your matrix, literally your human kryptonite. Because tarot is the science of potential. I've done it for over 20 years, and in the 20 years, I got to tell you, man, I'm disappointed. I don't think it predicts much of anything. In fact, actually, from my experience, nothing at all, virtually. You may get a nibble on something, but by and large, no, useless. However, in the 20 years, I've discovered tarot is the science of potential. After all, what is tarot? It's a card or cards. Every card has its own frequency. I mean, you see an image on the card, might be the devil, the 3 of Swords, the world, whatever the hell it is. Fool. Doesn't make any difference. Each one of those things has a frequency to it. It's like the chemical table chemists use. Each one of those elements on there has a specific number. That number is its frequency, or, you know, a version of its frequency. Life is frequency. Life is energy. And that's what tarot brings. Now, I only do 3 cards. That's it. Just 3. Anybody who does more, I think, is faking it. Each one of the cards has its individual frequency, and then I blend them all together so I can come up with one frequency from all three. What that does is give you a very clear, concise energy reading. That's important because the tarot is the center of this reading. I want you to see your potential. Now, it's your choice whether you want to follow up on it or not. That's up to you. But just getting you to see and feel your potential, your kryptonite, isn't enough. I have to give you a cosmic weather report. Well, that's what I call it. I also do interesting things in metaphysics, astrology, numerology. Done them for over 50 years. And in that time, I found out they are the science of cycles within cycles within cycles. I'm going to make some adjustments to the podcast. As I do that, I'm going to start to talk about history and astrology. I did that over the summertime when I took a look at American history through the eyes of astrology, and you find patterns repeating. And what happens? Our activity, our actions repeat. You know, people go, well, geez, look at all the time here. Boy, have we evolved. We haven't evolved anything. Nothing. We're just as vain. We're just as lazy. We're just as myopic as we've always been. And I can take a look at the astrology and make the connections. And the reason I want to do that is because I want you to see, look, it happened here. It happened over here. It happened over here 3 times. And it's happening again now. What do you think it's going to be like? That's important information. That's the Cosmic Weather Report. You are getting a review. If it's happened a couple of times, 3 times, and it was essentially the same. I mean, you didn't have the same people, didn't have the same conditions, but the end result was the same, and we're in the middle of it now, that's real helpful. That tells you how you can use your kryptonite, how you can use your matrix, how you can manifest. Take that energy. For example, today's Tao Manifesting Tarot is love is not an emotion, it's an action. Now, you first heard that, you'd go, oh, bullshit. No. Love is action. There is an attraction, which we call love, but the real act of love is sacrifice for the person that you claim to love. For example, Jay Leno, the comedian, I mean, he's fabulously wealthy, has a great reputation, is busy, involved, popular, but his wife, Mavis, has come down with Alzheimer's. And he says she doesn't even know most of the time who he is. Now, he's got a lot of money. He could put her in a nursing home or something like that. He's not doing that. He says, I actually enjoy, this is the woman I've been married to for over 45 years. I actually enjoy helping her. It's not easy. I got to feed her. I got to clean up after her, after the bathroom. I love her. That's love. Saying I'm in love with somebody, oh, man, like she's cute or he's handsome. That's attraction. That's not love. And so what we're talking about is getting to a point of acting in love with yourself. Sounds easy. Not so much. We'll get to that in just a moment. Now, very often I will do the astrology, but very often you will see in these things, because I'm here to illuminate for you. We'll take stories out of the news of the day that kind of underline that same feeling. The idea is to create a situation where you can actually imagine what you're going through in a tangible way and see, this ain't the first time. It's not the first rodeo. Human beings have gone through this before. They've handled it. I have this energy from the tarot. I'm going to work my way through it too. That's the important thing. So we start first with the tarot reading, give you something that's crystal clear, and then we kind of lay out a map. How do you get to using this tarot energy most appropriately? So we're going to be doing that in a moment. But what I want to do right now is take a little time off, kind of set things up. Remember I said today, love is not an emotion, it's an action. To expand on that idea, let's go to the cosmic cycles. Today's tarot message, kind of a little different angle or view. Today's message is the loyal heart, or love is not an emotion, it's an action. The information here, walk the walk. We love to talk the talk. We love to talk about love. Oh, yeah, that's fun stuff. But maybe it's time to rethink love, at least the concept. We confuse it with an emotion, but it is much, much more. It's doing love, not so much feeling it. Oh, I mean, there's an element of feeling there, of course, but it's the action. Real love means sacrifice, demonstrating it in our actions. That's not always easy, especially when it comes to loving ourselves. And that's really what this whole thing is about. You're looking for a loyal heart. Look to yourself first. Love is not so much an emotion, it is action. Good point. Alrighty, so let's go to the reminder here. Tao-tarot at proton.me. That's my email, tao-tarot at proton.me. Feel free to comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Tao-tarot at proton.me. Reaching out. You can, if you feel that you could, reach back. I appreciate it. I thank you in advance. So let's move on. We're in the Thinking Out Loud department at this point. And Joe Keel, I don't know who he is, but this is pretty good stuff he wrote. Awareness is not passive. It's the most active form of resistance. Every time a human being chooses mindfulness over reaction, introspection over indoctrination, love over fear, the old systems tremble. Energy follows awareness. Therefore, by reclaiming our focus, we reclaim our energy, and by reclaiming our energy, we dismantle the structures that depend on our compliance to exist. That's really the biggest item. It's like love is not simply an emotion, it's an action. Same thing with awareness. It's not passive. You become aware of something, things change, your world changes. We are at a point right now in our history as human beings where awareness is more important than ever. I'm slowly seeing people become aware, and with that, becoming active, and with that, maybe saving humanity. Let's cross our fingers. Here's the meme for today. Oh, this was a tough one, but I wanted to do it because it talks a lot about this whole idea of awareness. There's a lot of things that went on in history that people are just not aware of. We're not told, and we're not told intentionally. And while we're talking about the concept of love, here is the complete antithesis to it. It's a book by Eli Faber called Jew Slaves and the Slave Trade, setting the record straight. Jews have been master slavers for over 2,000 years. They were the master slavers for sure in Rome, in the Middle Ages. Charlemagne, the Pope, everybody said, hey, you can do the slave stuff, Jews, but don't do it to Christians. Well, you know damn well they're going to eventually, and they have. But everywhere they went, they were the dominant slave masters. Again, since at least the Roman times, wouldn't surprise me in the Greek times. And as I'm looking back, knowing how Jews love to rearrange history, I wouldn't be at all surprised if, they talked about being slaves in Egypt and they were allowed to, leave. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they were actually kicked out by the Egyptians. Because frankly, over 2,000, 3,000 years, the Jews have been the master slavers, the abusers, the bankers. They took advantage in every way that they could, and they were kicked out of more than 200 countries over their history. More than 200 kicked out. And in fact, they went back several times and were kicked out again and again and again and again. And in fact, the Inquisition, while you hear the story of how violent and ruthless it was, and it probably was, the Spaniards were very, very brutal, cruel people in this regard. It was really to take on the Jews. The Jews were hated. They were caught cheating and stealing. And then, of course, there's the slavery stuff. In fact, the big Jew masters in the United States were the Jews. It's a terrible history. We haven't been told, but Eli Faber finally told it. And along those same lines, we've given Israel everything in spite of its history, and one of the latest things we've given it are AI models, models in war. And considering their history in the Akba and their attack on the USS Liberty and other places, makes you wonder with this AI stuff we've given them, do they also determine who will live and die? I mean, it's a question. I mean, it's not. History lays it out. I mean, Eli Faber laid it out. These Jews are the masters of slave trading, have always been. And they use it to fund a whole bunch of other stuff. And they've molded the story to fit their purposes. At some point down the road, we're going to talk about Germany because the story is not exactly as Israel's been telling us. So here's another one that explodes in front of our faces thanks to Eli Faber and this whole idea of love. And this is the antithesis of it. So now we go to the missing link, tying things all together, talking about vaxxers. God, it's amazing how I'm seeing and hearing about people who are young, 30s, 40s, 50s, sudden death. What's going on? Just picked this up yesterday off the internet. This Abigail Morier. Here she was in December 2022, looking pretty healthy, pretty steady. I think she was getting ready for some sort of a competition. Here she is 6 months later, turbo cancer. She's passed. Up to the left there, the awkward silence in the world right now is the vaccinated slowly realizing the unvaccinated were right. And we're going to see more and more of that. The people who keep track of the numbers of people living, dying, and all those kinds of things are not simply honest scientists. And there's a whole bunch of them out there that are doing phenomenal studies. RFK is doing his part. Most doctors, most scientists, I don't believe, I don't trust, I think they're corrupt, evil. But there is a group, and even more important than that, there's a group of people who keep track of the numbers, actuaries. They do it for the insurance companies, hospital, any business. What the actuaries do is take a look at the numbers. They record the number of deaths. They give this whole database. And what they're noticing is that more and more people are sick, more and more people are dying, and they see it increasing exponentially. You don't hear anything about it, but that's why the story about Abigail Morier, 24 years old, she vaxxed and she got turbo cancer. Bottom left, it's good old Trumpy. I voted for him, but boy, am I disappointed. Man, am I disappointed. And it says here, if the way Trump feels is if everybody would quit talking about Epstein, weather warfare, Israel, mRNA, bioweapons, and the digital AI surveillance prison we're building, he would be happy with that. Ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. Ain't about to do it. What scares me is 2028. I don't see more than a handful of people who I would trust being president. I mean, 5 is really pushing it. 5 out of 435. And finally, at the bottom right, you can always vaccinate later, but doing research, Well, if you don't do your own research, you can't unvaccinate. So wait, do your own research, in spite of what they tell you, because they would just assume that you forget all of this. This is the idea of self love. Each one of these stories talked about love in a little different form or fashion. But again, love is not just an emotion, it's an action, it's a commitment. And that's what this whole thing is about. So let's go to the tarot energy. We got the devil card, that's the first card. Devil card talks about bondage and despair, but here's the deal. The devil card really talks about self-hate, self-loathing. That's the way we're programmed. We're not worth much, we're not important enough. We are from birth in debt and in bondage. And eventually that leads to despair because we are addicted to something we didn't vote for. Three of Swords, there you go, the swords in the heart. It's betrayal, it's arguments. What we're really doing is trying to get back to a place, or maybe for the first time ever, get to a point where we love ourselves. If we love ourselves, we can love other people, but we can't love ourselves because that's not the goal, it's not the game. So, what happens if we can get a little closer to loving ourselves, truly acting like the world card, completion, integration? That's the goal, to connect with the different parts of ourselves, the mind, the body, the spirit. Very difficult to combine all three of those things. But all three of those things are separate right now. And that's part of the division that we are facing, not only as a country, but as humanity. If they can divide us from each other, they can divide us from ourselves, they win. And the whole thing here, self-love. It's not just an emotion, it's not just a feeling, it's action. Time to get to the action of loving yourself. Time is up. Thank you so much for your investment. I realize that money can't buy time, so when you come here, it's important to me to give you the best information I can to help you out in every way that I can. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also wanted to let you know or remind you, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Nasty stuff going on the internet. You can make a difference, like and subscribe. Between now and the next time you and I do this manifesting tarot stuff together, peace and blessings.